Hello and welcome once again to the
OIKOS WHEEL!
It was fun last time. We had a super good discussion. And I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
So today we have a new topic / question / I don't know.
Can I spin it again?
Spin the wheel for us.
Oh.
Number one. Numero uno. Swedish?
Nummer 1.
Finnish?
Numero 1.
Amazing. Read and talk about the unfruitful fig tree found in Luke 13, 6 and 9.
Do you want to get that Bible?
Well, we are just waiting for the Bible delivery. Cool. There it came. Cool.
Boom.
Who wants to read?
I can read. So it was Luke.
Luke 13, 6 and 9. So what we're gonna do, meanwhile Ika tries to find
I
it.
am ready.
We are gonna read it and then we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah. He also spoke this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came seeking fruit on it and found none. Then he said to the keeper of his vineyard, "Look, for 3 years I have come seeking fruit on this fig tree and find none. Cut it down, why does it use up the ground?" But he answered and said to him, "Sir, let it alone this year also, until I dig around it and fertilize it. And if it bears fruit, well, but if not after that, you can cut it down."
Ooh.
Did you have a searching question about it, or should we just go for it?
No, let's just go for it.
Yeah, I see. Well, what does the passage say to you? I guess we can start with that. How do you understand it?
I think our theology students should start again.
I see. Well, as I'm doing an exegesis on this passage now, no, I'm kidding.
I was gonna be like, what? How in the world?
Look, I would say that the main point of this passage is grace. So basically there is the farmer or whoever owns the fig tree, and then the person who demands cutting it down. And the person who is trying to save it comes like, hey, let me just do these things, it's going to be better. So I feel like, at least now when I'm applying it into my life, if God would be impatient with me and just cut me down when I don't produce the fruit, then I think I'd be cut down quite a few times already. But God is a patient God, and He always gives another chance, and He's forbearing, a word like bearing, something like that. Kärsivällinen.
Forbidding.
Yeah.
No.
Forsaken. That
Forbearing, I think.
that forgives.
Yeah, forgives, but it's another word
I
for
think
patient. I
It's
think.
forsaken.
Like patience, like waits for
Yes.
long and
Yes.
like
Sorry, my
suffers
English.
for long.
Anyways, He waits long in order to save us, and He's very patient also with our process. Like sometimes we produce one leaf, but not fruit yet, but that's already success and it's going forward. So I don't know if I'm making it too shallow, but in my mind, it's my heart. It says that God is a patient God who always gives more time in order for us to produce the fruit that He is pursuing to have in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, reading that just made my heart bubble, kind of oh, it's so nice that he's waiting, and like you said, if a little fruit comes, he's like, yay!
Yeah, exactly.
There.
But who would you say, if the fig tree is us, it represents us, and was it farmer or owner at least of the yard is God? Who is the person who wants to?
Let me give it back to you, I guess, in that case. Well, the keeper is actually the one who is demanding to cut it down.
Oh, a certain man had a fig tree planted in his. I see. Yeah.
So
the keeper wants to cut it down and talks to the man who had the fig tree planted in his vineyard. But the man is God, who is then the keeper. No, but I'm interested to know
very good
because
question.
because this guy wants to cut the tree down, but the man who is God says, no, I have some patience, let's give it one more year, I have mercy for this tree.
It brings me in my mind the book of Job, you know,
Yeah?
that kind of like Satan is like, can I please cut it? Can I please cut it?
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
a good interpretation.
But just to be a joy killer here, it's the owner of the vineyard who wants to cut it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who's the owner of this world? Like, you know, like a this
okay, I
world.
see. Okay, if you interpret it that way.
Yeah.
Well,
I do believe though that the unfruitful fig tree can be us also.
Yeah.
Like let's not take it as oh God is so merciful, which He is. But I
Yeah.
think specifically how I translate it in my head is that yes, He is merciful, but we have a duty as Christians, as believers,
fruit.
that to produce something.
Because otherwise we're just consuming all the energy, but not
Exactly.
really giving anything.
And I don't know if you remember, but there's another story about the fig tree also that it dried up, right?
Yeah.
Which is cursed.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's a recurrent like theme with the fig tree drying. So the drying of the fig tree it could mean that we're not doing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know. So in that light, what do you think that we could be doing in order to become dry?
To keep our faith just for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like
That's
I'm
a
thinking
good
that
one.
it's pretty do I dare to say selfish? Like
Yeah,
I mean,
I
if
think
I
so.
get to know about God's grace and love and perfection, and I have it, but I don't share it with others, in a way I feel like everyone should have that, right? Or get to know about that beautiful gift that I have been given. But if I don't share it, then I would feel like, well, then I just keep it for myself, and I'm just my own tree there alone, you know, not producing anything.
Exactly. And remember in the last video that we did, we were talking about like reasons for being Christian, and I think one thing that I said there was that you know, in all the other religions, you need to be the one who saves yourself. And if I get to know about this type of message that God is actually the one reaching out for me, then it is very selfish to, you know, keep it for myself. But if I become a consumer type of a Christian who just sucks but doesn't give, who just sucks. I mean,
You suck as a Christian.
yeah, well, it's double meaning, you know. That's how it works. So if my religion is like self-oriented, that's the definition for me of paganism. You know, paganism is self-oriented religion where you are just a consumer in order, like you are consuming things in order to make it there.
Yeah, it also brings me to this Bible verses about the faith without deeds is dead, and dead without faith. Deeds without faith, it's also dead, right?
Yeah.
So this is the same thing. So just for the people that maybe are not Christians, we're not contradicting ourselves here, saying now that we have to do something to earn God's love, because it's not the case.
Yes, no.
But there is a relation between loving God and accepting God, and also just doing something, but not because we have to do this in order to be safe, but more it's just how it works, you know.
It's natural.
It's natural,
Like,
and so there is something that perhaps we need to do, not in order to be safe perhaps, but actually to keep in this journey, to keep up the journey, and also as you said, like what's kind of like our mission. Like you can't just like take it on yourself and don't share it, you know. Like if we have this beautiful message, it's like why aren't we spreading it? Why aren't we actually like using our gifts? Because that's another interpretation that I see is like God gave you gifts, like use them for His kingdom, you know.
Absolutely.
So I do believe that's another way that you can become dry.
Yeah.
And in Galatians is speaking about the fruits of the Spirit, and those fruits are, how was it, love,
Joy.
patience, joy. So it's not like the fruit is save Africa or save China or help every homeless person in Finland to get an apartment. But those fruits are actually very simple yet deep in their nature. So I would say, what kind of Christian is a Christian who would not want to produce love?
Exactly.
Or what kind of Christian would be a person who would not want to produce patience or joy? So those are all good things.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, but I think if we don't want those like attributes to fill our lives, I think you must be a pretty sad person. You know, if there's no love and joy and all those things, like what's the point of life anyway? Like doesn't matter if you're a believer or not. So I definitely think that that this is the call for us to produce fruit is an invitation to experience also ourselves a more content and fulfilled life.
Yeah, and that like comes to what I was trying to say, like in the past episode about this practical Christianity. You know, like that you actually like live in this because it has a practical meaning in my life.
Right.
You know, and that also what we were talking about the real values of Christianity. They're super good, you know, like what you were saying, like love, patience, and joy,
kindness, grace,
you know, like all those the fruit of the spirits per se. They're super a beautiful thing. So if we fill ourselves with that, then we will bear fruit.
Yes.
You know, we will not go dry.
And one thing that I actually realize now that is so interesting too is that, you know, this man talks with the keeper and suggests that they would cut down the tree, but then the keeper says, let it alone this year also until I dig around it and fertilize it. I'm not like very good with plants, but I guess it means that you do something for the tree to bear fruit, right?
Ooh, yes.
So I think that God also has everything we need in order to use our gifts and be who he called us to be. Like he wants to help us, he wants to give us the tools for doing that. So that's awesome.
And that really tells it.
Yeah,
it's like,
right?
I want to do my everything. I want to do everything that I can to make that possible.
And take care of this tree. Yeah.
And I think this is one of the problems of today's society, that today's society is taking away this fertilizer for us to actually perform in the way that God wants us to perform, not in the way that society / Satan wants us to perform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I guess that's Satan's work to take away those things that can actually make us fruitful in terms of our Christian walk.
Yeah.
But I think one more point that comes into mind it was something that you also pointed out, like it's not only about God's grace and his patience, but it's also that there will be an end for things as well. So like he will be very, very patient with us, and of course with me has been way more patient than just 1 year. But there's going to be an end, and in the end, if it doesn't produce fruit, then it will be cut down. So there's a balance also of grace and patience and love, but also justice.
And
there's a consequence.
And there's a consequence, because if you are living like a self-centered life for whole of your life, well, I think there's going to be some pretty sad consequences for that, for sure. Because like imagine in that ways, if your life doesn't produce love, kindness, faithfulness, joy, all of those things, well, what is it going to produce then? If it's going to produce the opposite, hatred, you know, impatience, anger, all of those things, well, you're going to reap a horrible outcome of all of that.
Chances are you will get dry for sure.
And also it says here that this guy who talks about cutting down the tree, he says that like, why have it here when it's just using up the ground? Like we could plant something else. We could plant a tree that bears fruit here. You know, why have this dry tree here? You know, so it's also kind of like, you know, a dry tree doesn't give anything. You know.
And I think that is a very, very dangerous thing also I think we should also look after or be aware of, because I think more and more religion, or even Christianity to some extent, is becoming more of this like self-help type of thing. So there is a big aspect of personal restoration also, like in Christianity, like you will be healed, personally experience God's power in your life. But if it's only about me, then faith becomes very self-centered, and self-centered faith is a dangerous type of faith. Because that's only like it's kind of like a form of self-worship in the end. Like it's me worshiping God so that I can get something.
And then at the end, sadly, you will fall into like, I have to do this in order to earn that.
Yes.
You know, and it's not about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, wow, but what an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys. It was super cool and I hope you guys also enjoyed it. Just keep watching because more will come for sure.
Absolutely.
Welcome also to the Oikos house. You can follow us in all the social media.
Instagram, YouTube, everything, man.
Facebook even.
Yeah.
The Oikos
TikTok.
house. So yeah, go and have a look. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.